Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Craig.
and this is Songwriters Tales. Craig, episode 3 with Michael Peterson. If you've listened to the first 2 episodes, I don't even need to say anything because you're probably here because you were blown away with the first 2 episodes, and this one does not disappoint either. Uh, this guy is I'm thinking about calling him up and see if he'll become my life coach because everything about this guy, I think he said we were of the same tribe because we really all clicked on the same, we were just on the same things. We
Yeah,
really
we were.
clicked. And if you're a songwriter, you'll love this. If you are just a Michael Peterson fan, you will absolutely love this. And if you don't know who he is and you're not sure, trust me, you will love this. Craig?
So I will say this. If you're a songwriter, a musician in the music business, that's great. Love it. We are. That's what we do. But this isn't just for those that are in the business. This right here is for anybody who is breathing air and having a journey called life, because you are going to be able to relate to everything that is said on this podcast. This is part 3, and get ready. Put your seatbelt on. What do you say, Mark?
I say, let's do it.
What we're really doing is we're trying to create emotion. More than anything else, we're trying to create emotion. And we're trying to create emotion that somehow translates from the seed that we create into other people's lives. Isn't that what makes a hit? Isn't that what makes somebody want to share a song with somebody else? You don't share a song because you thought it sucked and you never want to hear it again.
As a joke.
Right. You share it because you're saying, wow, I felt something. I'm hoping if I share it with you, you'll feel it too.
That's right,
Right.
man. Well, I'll tell you, Michael, I was in one of those places today. I was just in my head having this conversation with
Yeah.
myself, and just kind of going, well, I've got about 3 or 4 songs, and I go, uh, you know, and then I thought, I asked myself the question, why are you wanting to write? And it occurred to me, I wanted to come up with something profound, that somebody, whoever would hear it, it would touch them. That it would just be unique and profound. But again, there's nothing new under the sun. So there's nothing unique, and there's nothing new. It's just said in a different way. But that was what hit me today. That is the carrot that I'm chasing, is I'm looking for that one thing right there,
Mhm. Right.
which is probably completely unrealistic, but that's the driving force, because of how I've seen it affect people and how it affects me when I hear a song that is profound.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you
it's
know,
not easy to find those ideas. And one thing I think a lot of, well, people that don't write songs for a living will often ask the question, where do you get your ideas? Like you just go into a room and you come up with ideas, like you get inspired.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I don't, yeah, maybe sometimes, but most of the time, I think if you're a serious songwriter, you are in pursuit of inspiration 24/7, 365. And that's why you carry a notebook, because you saw something, you wrote it down, you picked up
that's
your
it.
phone, you spoke into your phone, so that when you sit at, you have a bag of goodies to look through and say, you
mhm,
know, so I think that, you work at being inspired. You have to work at it. And I think a lot of it has to do with habits. There's a great quote from a guy named Og Mandino, and it
Yep.
says in a book called the Secret, the Greatest Secret in the World, and he says that good habits are the key to to unlock the door of success. Bad habits are the unlocked door to failure. Right?
yeah,
So
Wow.
good habits, nurture good habits, habits of listening, habits of writing stuff down, and I think that's what songwriters do. So that when you
mhm,
find yourself, Craig, as you were today, where you say, what is it I want? I'm looking for something profound. Well, I don't know. I remember being 21 years old and seeing a book on the shelf at a bookstore by a guy named George Seldes, and it was called The Great Thoughts. And I thought, well, what's that about? And I picked it up and I opened it up. It was a book of quotes. And somehow something inside of me said, if you want to think great thoughts, you need to read great thoughts. And I got
Wow.
on the kick where I started to become a guy who read quote books the way that other people read novels. Like I just would
Mhm.
read them cover to cover because I thought to myself, how am I going to have great thoughts to share with other people if I don't read what other people have had as great thoughts? So the point of all of that is to say, you sit in a room, you've got 4 ideas, you're thinking, I need to be inspired today. Well, if you haven't done the homework to lay the groundwork for all of that, good luck. But if you've had a
That's
Mhm.
lifetime
right.
pursuing inspiration and collecting and gathering, then you still have those days where you look like you did today, like I did yesterday, you know, like all Mark might have done another day. And we just look some days, you feel it. Some days you don't. Some days you don't feel it and you go after it anyway, and then it shows up. How many times I went to a writing appointment, I thought, oh, God, I don't want to go today. And we wrote a great song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, it's elusive. It's elusive. But, I don't know who said it, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take,
That's
you know?
exactly right.
Right. And that's
Well,
why if it go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I
No,
was
it's
just
fine.
gonna
I
say
talk
that
too much.
no, I was just gonna say, the way I heard it explained and, it really resonated with me is that sometimes you have to refill the well before the ideas come back. And it's like you can drain the well and you're like, okay, I just don't have any ideas. Well, that means you need to go out and take a walk, or you need to read a book, or you need to go see a movie, or you need to listen to some kind of music you don't ever listen to. Or but it's kind of your writing muscles way of saying, you know, the well's empty. Go refill the well.
Yeah.
And it's just always resonated with me, and it's exactly what you just said. It's like, you have to seek inspiration sometimes.
Well,
Well,
yeah. And
Michael,
reminds me of what that quote I said earlier. Like a publisher is somebody who's looking for somebody that has something to say. So going back to that, like what is it? Like I did an exercise the other day. I thought, okay, let me do some research and find out what the top 10 most uh, felt needs
wow.
of Gen Xers are. What are the top 10 most profoundly felt needs of Generation Xers? Well, all you have to do is look at that list, and all of a sudden you have all kinds of things to write about.
That's a great idea.
Because Dwayne Blackwell told me years ago. Dwayne wrote, among other things, "Friends in Low Places," and Dwayne
Mm.
said to me one day something that's been a beacon of light for me. He said, "If you want to be a superstar songwriter or artist, then either write or sing songs that instantly make you a spokesperson for millions of people."
That's so true. That is so
And
true.
another way of saying that is how do you know you have a good title? Ask yourself the question: is it T-shirt worthy?
I like that.
Yeah, because people don't wear stuff on their T-shirts for no reason. They wear
That's
stuff
right.
on their
They want to
T-shirts
say it.
they identify with, that make other people laugh. Right. So if you want some great song ideas, go on the internet and look up funny T-shirt sayings, and you'll find 50 song titles.
That's so funny. Tennille Arts was on our show recently, and she had written a song called "Don't Ruin Flowers." That's the title, right, Mark?
Yeah, yeah.
And and when I first, when I was kind of looking her up and checking on her, and before she
Yeah,
was on our show, I heard that title, and a good publisher is going to tell you your song better have a good hooky title that draws
yeah,
people in.
yeah,
That's one of Rex's. That's like the first thing right there. So
yeah.
that's the always I'm going like, don't ruin flowers. What does that even mean? And when she was on the show, she said she was browsing through TikTok and all these people were talking about their breakups, about their relationships and all these terrible things that were going on. And the guys were wanting to just buy, just kind of just buy them flowers just to,
Right.
a real quick,
Right.
I'm sorry, but not really
Check the
sorry at
box.
all.
Yeah.
And, and check them out. And the whole, and she can't, and somebody said, don't ruin flowers.
And
Wow.
yeah, I mean, like you said, she said she was on there because I think she was going through a relationship thing. And so she was
That's
just
what she
all,
said.
she was in one of those pity party, let's go, let's see what everybody else is hurting about. And she said the comments were gold. And she said, someone actually said, don't ruin flowers. And
Right.
she said, oh my God, what a great song idea.
Yeah. So, the thing
I
is,
love
they're
it.
everywhere. They're everywhere, every day. So, there's a great story about John Paul Getty, who at his time he was alive, at one point, he was the richest man in the world. And the story goes that the New York Times wanted to interview him for a cover story because they thought it'd be great, interesting if he could tell the world how he became the richest man in the world. And boy, they were ready for a long story. Like, this is going to be great. Like, we're going to have multiple editions like of this story. Like, he's going to tell us the story. So he comes in for the interview and they ask him the questions. So how did you become the richest man in the world? And here was his complete answer, the complete answer. And then he left. He said, some people find oil and some people don't. Right? So
That's awesome.
how do you become a great songwriter? How do you write great songs? Well, some people find great song ideas and some people don't. Right?
So
And,
true.
and, and the reasons why they do or don't has a lot to do with habits. What are your habits as a songwriter? Habits, habits, and when we were young people, our impulses drove our decisions. But as we got older, our habits took over, right? And our habits are,
Mhm.
love and fear and greed and appetite and passion and prejudice and and habits.
Huh?
Our habits drive it. So I don't know. Maybe that's the best piece of advice I can offer your songwriting listeners is what can I do to write great songs? Develop good songwriting habits. Find out what the habits are of the people who are successful and copy them. Habits.
Right. Right. Michael, and for those of you that are listening to the podcast right now, you're on the last episode of this interview with Michael Peterson, and you need to go back to the beginning because and I'm talking to you now, Michael, you talked about one of the main things is have that sail up in the air ready for that breeze to come by, whether that's an idea, whether it's an inspiration, whether it's meeting somebody at the, that you weren't, whatever that wind looks like in that sail.
Sure.
And that's, that you got to remember all the things and songwriters aren't just a bunch of, just kind of loosey-goosey kind of poetic people walking around. You've got to be successful and you've got to treat it like a business. And that's why you have your habits. You make yourself work professionally. That's the professional side of it. And that enhances. Some guys have become hit songwriters by being loosey-goosey and somebody kind of picks them up and makes them famous or makes it work, but they usually don't last long. They usually don't live long a lot of times after that.
No.
But yeah, but to do it professionally and to do it right in a humanity, in the human kind of way, in
Right.
the way that has dignity, that's exactly what you're talking about. Mark, what do you got, brother? I know.
Man, I just, first I want to ask if you haven't written a book, you need to, because you are one of the funniest, most genuine human guys. And I can't tell you how much fun this has been for us to
Oh,
talk to
Yeah.
thanks.
you.
Well, I feel the same about you.
But I also want to, Craig normally does this, but since I'm talking, I'll do it. I want to make you promise that you'll at least come back again
Of
and,
course.
we would love, love, love to continue with this because I think you have such a great positive way of you said it in the pre-show, and I think you said it during the show too, but it's like you love it. It's like you were born to write songs, and you were an artist, you were a very successful artist. You've continued to perform, but songs are your passion. And I'm right there with you. I never was a performer. Craig is a performer, but we all have that in common. It's the song. It's
Yeah, man.
communication.
I love
So,
that. Well, thank
Mark,
you for saying that. That feels really nice.
if you've asked him to come back and he said yes, if I ask him to come back, does that mean he's coming back twice?
That works for me, but no, but
I'm just trying to do.
Again.
I'm just trying to do the math here. It's kind of
Okay.
well, brother. We have so much enjoyed this, and we've got so much more to talk about. And we are definitely going to have you back if you will come back.
I
And
love it.
hopefully we'll see you face to face sometime. If you're on this side of the planet, we'd love to meet up with you if we can arrange
I love that. I love that. So do me a favor. Help me
Yes,
to
sir.
help you. Help me to help you. Let me know where I can point people and how I can point people towards what you guys are doing, because I love your spirit and your energy. You guys are the real deal.
Awesome,
thank
brother.
you.
We will.
Yeah, it's just Songwriters Tales at I think what song?
Yeah, we'll send it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll send it. It's in a bunch of
it's in a bunch of different places.
Well,
On Spotify. We're on Spotify. We're on
Yeah.
YouTube, but it's Songwriters Tales with Mark and Craig. And
Okay.
but
Well, I'm going to start telling everybody about you guys. So
you are the reason why we do this, man. I
Absolutely.
cannot tell you how much fun this has been. And thank you for the insights. And you didn't just inspire other people, you actually inspired me, because it, it's easy for us to get in the bitter barn or get, to do a little pity party every now and then. But then it's like, dude, then I go back and I think, and something you said, it's like, we are so fortunate to have the gifts that we were given to communicate through song.
yeah.
And when we get to do it for other people, like you talked about, and you move someone to tears, and the people you moved to tears, probably caused a lot of tears if they were in that prison. So, you move them to tears, you're doing the right thing, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So
Awesome.
thank you so, so much for coming. This has been such a blast.
Thank you guys. I know, I feel like I found my tribe when I got on with you guys. Like we are of the same tribe, and it's just such a joy to be with you. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to tell you about an old friend of mine named Alan Shacklock, all the way from London, England. This man has worked with Meatloaf, Jeff Beck, R. Kelly. Sugar Ray also worked with members of Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, Toto, Chicago, Pretenders, Sir Paul McCartney, John Mayer, Queen, and the Police. Are you kidding? You gotta come see him. It's Alan Shacklock on Songwriters Tales with Mark and Craig, episode number 61. Go there.